Kidoki, guys. Today's guest is someone who just gets it. She just gets it. She's navigating work, relationships, big life changes. Okay. We've got exciting things under the belt here. And somehow through it all, she makes it look effortless, even when it's not. We've got Ms. Saina Sefidbakht in the house.
And for those of you who don't know, Saina is the head of product at OneCliq, which is also a little company I work at too, where she helps brands make sense of what people are saying online and turn all of that noise into actual useful insights that they can use for like ad campaigns and that kind of jazz. She's got the brain for strategy, UX, and just things to make it flow better. She's what we like to call the director behind the product at OneCliq. Um, but honestly, that applies to way more than just her job.
She's also right now, okay, in full on wedding planning mode, okay? Working alongside her fiance, who also happens to be a part of OneCliq, and figuring out how to build a life that actually feels good, not just one that looks good on paper. And let's let's be real, that in itself is a lot of work and a whole journey.
So, if you've ever felt like you're trying to juggle a bajillion things all at once, like career, relationships, personal growth, etc., like all that stuff that you just think about on a daily basis while still trying to make time for yourself, this episode is for you.
Yes, we're getting into it all. We're going to be talking about every little bit there, talking about wedding planning, um, what it's like to work with your fiance and what she's learned about herself through that, and any advice she has for uh, people who work with their spouses, and some other little things as well. Um, and how those little things pile up and actually make a big difference.
Plus, we're gonna just learn about her real life, her story, her background, right? What has wedding planning taught her, and just how she's figuring it all out with everything that's happening in her life. Because let's be real, aren't we all just trying to go get through life and figure it out?
Of course. Okie dokie, guys. Let's get into it. Saina Sefidbakht, welcome to the Embodiment Podcast. Hello, spiritual bodies, driven entrepreneurs, and everyone in between. Welcome to Embodiment, who you are behind closed doors, the podcast where we explore the truth of who you are beyond the surface.
I'm Emmanuel Series.
And I'm Ashley Fry.
Together, we dive into mindset, self-discovery, and the magic of aligning with your highest self. If you're chasing dreams or leveling up spiritually, this is for you. So, Sina, welcome to Embodiment, who you are behind closed doors. We're so happy and grateful to have you on right now.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is our
Of course,
girl. This is our
our
girl. Our
girl,
girl.
I think it's appropriate to start with how me and Sina know each other because me and Sina, because me and Sina know each other personally. Um,
We're not the only ones who know each other personally.
Well, I wasn't even at that. It was his grammar.
oh,
Oh,
Sina and I'm so sorry. Sina and I are
grammar.
go way back. And so, for those of you who don't know, Sina and I work together. Okay, so we're work besties. We're besties generally. We're just all around, always vibing together.
That's true.
You can find us at a cafe. But we work for OneCliq. You guys have heard us talk about OneCliq a lot throughout the history of the podcast because we've mentioned it so many times with what we do and what we're constantly improving on within the company. And Sina is actually our head of product there, as you guys heard in the intro. And
That is
she's the
true.
one who actually builds the thing that people use, which is actually crazy. And it's so surreal because when I
Well,
used
I
to build
wish
websites,
that I had built it. I just managed the people that built it. I wish I could
She's
code.
the director.
She's the
Yes.
She's
director.
the eyes. She's the eyes.
The
Yes.
director. I like
And
that.
they don't just work at OneCliq. They're two of the people who developed it from the ground up, from
Mhm.
what it was before to what it is now to
Mhm.
what it's going to be. They're not just employees. You guys are
Mhm.
so much more than that, Mano.
More than
No,
just a dynamic duo at a company.
we're elite employees. It's what we are.
It's
That's what we
true.
are.
Yep. That's exactly it. We were promoted to elite employees from our first days.
um so let's focus on Saina now. Our special
My least
guest.
favorite thing.
Okay, so question, because I don't know a lot about like your background or anything like that.
Mhm.
Like, did you grow up around this area? Did you like where give us a little bit of backstory
A
into
little
you?
bit. Yeah, actually, I was born in Iran.
Okay.
We immigrated here when I was about 9, so I kind of started school in Iran, and then I kind of like skipped the third grade because we moved here in the middle of the third grade, and then they put me in fourth grade. So I always make a joke that like there are just some things that like I my brain buffers on when I'm talking, or like certain math I'm doing. I'm like I think it's because they skipped me a grade, but.
Hmm.
So I grew up in Iran, moved here when I was 9, and then we kind of just always lived in Thornhill and Markham.
Okay.
And it wasn't until about 2020, yeah, during the pandemic, that I moved out with my fiance. So yeah, kind of always been here, but after 9.
Okay. 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 And what was, I don't know if you remember a lot of that, but what was that experience like for you moving
It's
across the
crazy.
world?
It's really, really cool to like have been brought up in a completely different part of the world. Obviously very different to the culture and everything here. I don't have a ton of memories from there, but like I've kept some of the good ones. I don't know if it's like trauma response, just forget pretty much most of your childhood, but
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun. Like I had lots of friends there. We had a lot of family friends. Like the culture there is very much like Mano knows, it's very like family friends. Every weekend you get together, all your cousins, all the family friends.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you go out or just to each other's houses. It's very, very different than when you move here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were kind of lucky because when my family moved, like we had a lot of my mom's extended family here. So we got to kind of keep that going for a little bit. And then
Yeah.
the kids grow up and they stop coming, me included. Like post high school, I stopped like going. And then, yeah, now like I rarely see my family. But when I do, it's great. But
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of like grow up and then the Western culture kind of takes over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. Um, what what kind of guided you into doing what you're doing now with OneCliq? Was there any specific thing that like placed you on that journey or
Good question. Honestly, it was more so like out of sheer boredom in the pandemic. Because I was in my last year of uni during
Mhm.
2020, like I was supposed to graduate then. And I was actually doing like a bio degree. So I was in the sciences. Like I've always had an interest in sciences, but I very quickly started thinking about like, what am I gonna do with this degree after? Because I didn't want to go to med school. I didn't want to like well, my parents wanted me to become a dentist. That's a whole other story. But like I never had an interest in it really. So I was like, I
Mhm.
don't know what I'm going to do with this degree. I know I like science, but there's especially like a huge struggle for science kids to know where to go afterwards. And I know I didn't want to do more schooling. I was like, there's no way I'm doing a master's. Like I'm so done with school. I need a break. And when I did that, Nathan had just started his master's degree, and it was in entrepreneurship at MU. So I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like, what are you guys doing? And the whole premise of that program was to like get into groups and create a company or like an idea, and then like you go from conception to pretending like you're going to market. So like learning all the ways of becoming a founder, being an entrepreneur. And so their idea was actually really cool. And I was like, well, do you need like help coming up with the concepts, right? Because I
Yeah.
had just started learning about like Figma. and Adobe XD. I was like, okay, this is really cool. So I had started playing around with some things and I was like, do you guys need help with the conception? And they were like, no, it's just a presentation, like don't worry about it. But I just couldn't let it go. So I just started like creating little mock-ups for them because it was supposed to be like some mobile app. And so once I did that, the prof was like, "Oh, these are like really good. This is really fantastic. Like you guys went above and beyond." And Nate was like, "You kind of like saved our necks there." And then that kind of took a life on its own. So it was purely like it luckily fell into my lap and I just couldn't let it go. I was like, "No, I
Yeah.
really want to do this." And that's what took me into like the tech space.
Yeah.
And now I'm not looking back. The future is tech. I'm
Yeah.
Oh,
staying in it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Stay in the AI. Stay
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
AI.
not even just tech
Literally.
anymore. Like it quickly became like software into AI, and now we're in this like weird world where AI is everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I use ChatGPT for everything. It's
And
right there, everything. I'm typing an email. It's not actually me. I co-wrote this with ChatGPT.
but taken though, the amount of pivots that we've done as a company, like you, and by the way, Sina has been at the forefront of all these pivots too. Like every time there's something new that happens, Sina's at the front end being like, okay, how do we develop a roadmap for the product? Like, how do we develop this idea, this concept? So she has done this multiple times. She is a veteran at this point. She knows what she's doing.
I definitely feel like a veteran. I feel like through tech and like this whole world, it like honestly time passes very strangely. Every single day you're like entrepreneurship is not for the weak. And I always say like I don't know if I consider myself an entrepreneur, but I am in this space, so I like get to learn a lot from it. It's
Mm-hmm.
insane. It's the lessons that you learn every single day. Like you could be at the top of the mountain, next thing you know, you're like rolling down.
Yep.
And then you're like dragging yourself back up that mountain. But I do feel like I've aged through this.
Yeah. No, I get that. I
Yeah.
get that to a different capacity, but yes, I get that.
For-
And then okay, more
Mhm.
personal question, okay? Because Sina is so invested in the company that she's getting married to one of the co-founders.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true.
She's so
It's true.
invested.
See,
Um,
That's like
I invested from that first day of their presentation. I was like, let me invest myself into this.
so
she's
that was
dedicated.
that was gonna be my next question was how did you and Nathan meet because of this or
Ah,
had you guys known each other before that? How did that come
yeah.
to fruition?
Yeah, no, Nathan and I have known each other since 2017. We met when we were both doing our undergrad at York. And so I was just volunteering in my like nonprofit at school. And his sister, who is his co-founder, used to be the president of the club that was next door to mine. And so
Mm,
he was always chilling there. He was, hanging out, playing games. And we are right next door, like and we're a really loud group. We're a very, very loud group. Like everybody would just come to that office to play games. And yeah, we're just chilling and he just pokes his head in and asks to come sit. And we're like, sure, dude.
okay.
Whatever you want. Yeah. And he stuck around for hours. And he was talking about how he's in poli sci. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. Like, sounds good. He was kind of talking to everybody in the office. 8 years later, I found out he wasn't really trying to talk to everybody, which was really funny. I was like, oh, I had no idea. So he says he's in poli sci, and then I'm like ready to lock up, go to class. He's like, oh, I have class too. I was like, okay, really cool. Let's just get out of here then. I don't know. And then like our office and the classroom I'm going to is like across campus, like the furthest 2 points across campus you can get. And he's just like walking with me the whole time. And I'm like, do I have a stalker problem? Like, is this an issue? Like, what have I gotten myself into by inviting him into the office? No, turns out he was doing a double major. He was also in biomed as well as poli sci. So we were taking
Okay.
the same class because I was like, where is he going? It was like an
Yeah.
orgo class. I was like, is he just following me? I don't understand.
Yeah.
No, he was taking that same class.
Aw.
And yeah, that's the first time that we met. And so when he started his master's program, we had been dating for quite some time. I think about 3.5 years.
Okay.
And yeah, that's also like when I had first moved in to his place.
Okay.
So it kind of like worked out because I was bored out of my mind,
Yeah.
pandemic time. He started this cool new thing, and I was like, I like
Yeah.
this. This
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. I love that. I never knew how that came into fruition. So it's
Yeah.
cool to know that. Because
Yeah. No.
I think when I found out that you guys were dating, I had just like known you guys as separate entities that worked with MANO, right? And when I found out, I was like, wait, what? What? Like I just hadn't
Yeah.
like processed in my head at all. But
It
it
is one of those things that you don't really expect, and then you're like, huh?
well, and
We're
yeah,
also very like at work, we're very different, like two completely individual people.
as you like, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I think that's probably the best way it possibly could be, right?
Yeah, there's been like a lot of our team members who found out like 1, 2 years into working with us. They're like, wait, what? What are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wedding are you talking about? I'm like, our wedding. Us two. We're getting married. And then they're like getting invites to the wedding and they're like, wait, what do you
These
mean
two?
though? Like, huh?
What?
Yeah, it helps that we're like working on opposite sides of the business.
Yeah.
He's very much like operations business, talking to investors, customers, all that. And I'm very much just on the product side. Like,
Okay.
I
Would
think
you?
if we had more overlap, it would become very difficult to work with your spouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah.
Do you
Ashley was wondering. She
no,
was wondering about that.
I was gonna say, do you have any advice for maybe somebody who is struggling working in the same vicinity as their partner?
Definitely. It definitely helps if you're on different sides of the business, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
But even when like we're working on the same task, honestly, I'm very much like an empathetic person and I take things to heart a lot, whereas he's a very logical, yeah, literally, like I will take everything you're telling me to heart. Like I will feel it down to my bones. He's a very logical person. So for him, it's just like logistically, it's this. Like he doesn't mean anything to be taken to heart. So I actually just had to learn that like if we're disagreeing on anything on the business side, like just take a pause, look at it from like a bigger perspective. What's
Mm-hmm.
actually better for the company? Like take your pride out of it, take your feelings out of it. What is like actually reality? What is it? And what's the best decision to move forward? And a lot of times like we'll be saying the same thing or like I will have a concern that's not actually a concern because he's like, "Well, that that would never happen because this and this." And I'm like, "I never thought about that." I just like
Yeah.
feel things, right? I'm like, "Oh, well, I feel like it could be complex." And he's like, yeah, but reality is that's not actually complex. So
Yeah.
for me, it was just really learning that about myself.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. And I think that's super important is being able to look at it from like a bigger perspective with anything, whether it be in the workplace or literally anything, just looking at relationships
definitely.
in general. So,
I
um,
also think having someone like your other half kind of in the same loop, in the same mix as you, allows you to see and pinpoint like stuff about yourself, right? Because you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I did
Mhm.
that. But like they
yeah.
pointed out for you. And then you're like, oh my God, wait, I actually do that. So then when you go forward in the future, you're more intentional with how you act around those things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you can be more transparent with each other
it's
Yeah.
true.
Oh,
than like
Yeah,
the
on the
opposite.
other side of the spectrum, like one of the amazing things about getting to work with him on the same thing is that we just get it, right? Like you had a super tough day. I get it. We both had a super busy day. I get it. Like we don't have those conflicts of like someone coming home from work. Like you just don't understand because like entrepreneurship, like we said, is crazy, right? Like it's a whole different ballpark, it's a whole different game. Not to say that a 9 to 5 is not difficult. It's extremely difficult. Everything comes with pros and cons, right?
Mhm.
Working for yourself has benefits, but it also has cons. Working for someone else, same thing. But when you're both working on the same thing and you're on the same wavelength, like you just get it.
Yeah.
You don't have like disagreements about oh, I'm more tired, or like, I did more of this today, or like, I had to commute, I didn't, you were home.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, we just get it. We
Like
understand.
Mano was really annoying today. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
What
I'm
did you
kidding.
do?
I'm kidding.
Did you
I'm
come,
I'm
did
being
you,
attacked.
you make her
I'm
commute to
Attacked.
work?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm joking. Um, no, but that makes sense. That makes sense. Sorry, I know I was joking.
No, no,
I
I
was
know, I
trying to
know, I
think
know.
of
You're
something like,
good.
okay, they've been working on the same thing all day together. What's like one person that they could? Well, they both had to deal with Mano today. No, I'm kidding.
I'm
They have to
usually
deal
the
with me
resident
every
MANO
day.
whisperer.
The
But
MANO
when
whisperer.
something is
Yes.
needed, I am with MANO.
She
Yeah.
does. She'll
No, we
she'll send me a
Speak the
message.
MANO language.
No, right? She'll like she'll if anything's needed, she'll just send me a message and then it'll be like in
girl.
Mano lingo. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
Girl.
I that's one
real.
thing I've learned from Nathan is there's different ways to speak to people. And I think I've like naturally adapted that.
Mhm.
I never knew this before, but yeah, like he's perfected the way that like he not to like get something from you, but the fastest way to communicate something to you is like I
Mm.
like to be spoken to in a certain way. Mano likes to be spoken to in a certain way. You know, his co-founder, same thing. It's just like
Yeah.
learning those things about people. But yeah, I just kind of like switch into Mano language when I need something from
Yeah.
him. Just like, hey.
Fun side fact.
Hey.
Mano, you know what? I answered the phone to my mother yesterday, and guess what she said?
What did she say?
She goes, "You want to hear the tea?"
Kelly.
I
Ellie, where are
was
you
like,
learning this?
I was like, "Is it hot?"
Is
Is
it
it
hot?
Like,
Piping.
I was like,
Piping hot.
it's-
I was like quivering in my fucking boots. I was shocked that she could even say that.
and then she responds and goes, "It's so hot, the British are coming."
I've got my crumpets.
Oh my God. No.
Oh,
But it's so true though. The way
she's
you talk to
learning to
people.
speak our lingo. Our lingo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
she'll
take it
get
though.
things faster. She'll like go direct to the point.
Oh, sometimes I will spit out 3 sentences and she'll be like, "I have no idea what you just said." Like,
You just got to get the sentences out and then you can like start talking.
I think we've adapted such a unique English dialect with social media.
Yeah, there's so many things that like I'll be behind on. Like if I don't have time to be on TikTok, if I got to do my day job sometimes, I'm out of the loop.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I feel
I'll
you.
get it.
But Saina, you're also a researcher too, though. Like, let's not forget. Saina goes deep, knee deep in the research. Okay, she's not only in product, but she's out here doing all this analysis, and I could never. I could never. Could you ever see me doing
Yeah.
that? I could never.
I think it takes a certain level of not gonna say focus, I'm gonna say interest in the research
Yeah.
that you just don't have. You don't care about it, and that's fine. Like Nate doesn't either, right? Um, but like I am a freak when it comes to research. Like if I want to buy something, if there's an article on it, a video on it, comments on it, I've read it. I've considered all possibilities before I purchase this thing. I don't know why, I don't know who made me like this, but
No, it's
I
a good
have to do
trait
my
to have.
research.
It's a good trait to
Funny
have.
story.
Mhm.
Funny story. Okay, I posted a video on Instagram one time of my skincare routine. Side knows where this is going. And Sina messaged me and she goes, Mano, can I please give you some some advice? And I was
In
like,
the
yes, of
kindest
course.
way,
And she's like,
please.
in the kindest way. She's like, please
Just
never do that again. She's like, please
it's
fix your
because both
skincare
Ashley
routine.
and I commented on that video and we're
And
like,
this
buddy,
girl sends me like so many references for like things. She's like, you should use this product and this product and this product. And she's like, and you should use them in this order. Here's the video
You
for
should
proof,
be
and here's some
you
and blah
should
blah
be
blah and
skin
whatever.
cycling.
I no, okay. And then so she sent me all these things. I went and I bought them. I was like, I'm gonna go, listen to her because she did her research. She was telling me she's like, this creator is better than this creator because they do this and this and this. Like, go in deep in the research, okay? I bought the products, I use my face, and now look how clear my skin is. Like, it's so
Oh,
much clearer
so
than
what
it
you're
was before.
saying is that when you listen to Sina, it
life is just better.
Like,
Life is
it just
clearer.
worked. I'm
I
like,
was gonna ask,
wow,
how's it
it's
feeling though?
clear.
Like the feeling.
Are you using a skin barrier
I
serum?
do it every night.
He is.
Yes,
He is? Okay.
Sina
Man, I
recommended
told you
it.
to use one of those like 2 years ago.
You
Instead,
know
he
what?
spent
I
the
didn't know
last
what it
two
was at
years
that
using
point.
that mask every night
No,
and
it's not
killing
good.
said barrier further.
Not good. Yeah, no, because I also used to have the same issue with my skin barrier, and then I started using I used La Roche Posay
That's a really good one, yeah.
for a period of time, and then I used Skin FX for a period of time, and it like
I never
cycling
tried
through the two of them, it kind of
Yeah.
fixed it, and now I don't really need it. But
Very nice.
yeah,
See, you just need to listen to us because we both on that video were like, if your skin burns, you should stop.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop
Okay,
touching it.
but y'all, if there's one thing that you guys are both like not only just skincare girlies, but you're also like cafe girlies too. Like,
Love a good
I think
cat.
that's where you guys relate because I always trust whenever it comes to skincare advice or makeup advice or any of that type of stuff, I'm always like, Ashley and Sina, they know what they're talking about.
Where are
They
they?
know the
We're
tea.
just girls, babe.
Literally
We're
just girls.
just girls.
But
Yes,
I think it's just
and
authentic.
just consumers' final boss. Like I think we are consumerism's final boss. There's I'm just like it's actually kind of scary. I could be influenced by to anything. I'll buy anything, try anything. Like it's to the point where Nate's like, I don't think you should watch TikTok anymore. Like I think it's making you a little like crazy because I would have like eczema on my eyes and I'm like, I gotta try this, this, and this. He's like, why don't you just call your doctor? Just huh?
Because
Just and I was like, no, I can fix it myself.
no, real
And I
though.
did. I did fix it myself. But I am a sucker for consumerism.
Mano, you know what you need?
Oh God.
You need to buy diaper rash cream for your skin.
I've heard.
Diaper rash?
Yeah, and you need to layer it on your face before you go to bed. And I promise you, when you wake up, your skin will be glossy. And
Sometimes they come with little baby spatulas.
look at us, we're selling it right now.
So
But
so
I'm not even joking. I
what you're
haven't
saying
tried it,
is
but
I've
my
done my case studies into it.
yeah, right?
Yeah,
It actually works.
yeah.
I haven't tried it, but I have been
Because
recommended it.
there's a I don't, it's ox. I don't know what's in it, but there's one ingredient that like and because it's made for like babies' bums, it's also super like gentle as well, right?
Yeah.
But it completely clears it up. So
The way man's considering this so
so what you're saying is I get to look like a powdered donut and my skin looks clear the next morning?
yes.
well, no, it's not a fucking baby powder, Mano.
What is it?
Diaper
I think
rash
You know
cream.
the
Cream.
cream?
oh.
Cream.
Well,
He
who are we
thinks
kidding? Has
he
he
thinks
changed the
we're telling
diaper?
he thinks we're telling him to put baby powder all over his face.
That would
I've
dry
heard
you out.
I've heard baby powder is good for your skin, so I was like, okay.
I don't know. I would almost be way more nervous to put baby powder on my skin.
Plus,
The
isn't
one
like
I
baby powder, like the Johnson and Johnson one
Full of
specifically,
chemicals.
like linked to like cancers and stuff?
Hmm.
Did I used to
well
use that? Yeah.
Johnson and
well
Johnson is a terrible company.
P. Diddy
Just like
validated that
mega.
one.
Mano,
That's the oil.
we have no reason to be bringing up that man's
Sorry,
name.
sorry. Okay, sorry. Let's get back on track. Sorry. Okay. But that's just to show you that
Like,
Sina is a research whiz, okay? She gives you APA cited reports with facts, links cited, video proof, image proof, like
All little
citations,
side notes of
everything.
like personal notes as well.
Footnotes, like she gives you everything, okay? That's just to go to say that she goes deep in the research, okay? Now, this is going to come in handy for this next part because Sina is actually the one planning her entire wedding. Okay. She is the one that is orchestrating it, planning it, getting everything ready. It is coming in October. Okay. How are you able to manage planning your wedding and doing all that stuff, plus your research side hustles, plus OneCliq all at the same time without burning out?
also, like, yeah, just taking care of yourself.
Yeah, it's a good question. Honestly, I don't know that I've really escaped burnout. I've like probably experienced it at least three separate times, and it's only March. It's only March. Kind of like a once a month thing, but honestly, for me, like the wedding planning has been really fun. I'm trying to just not make it a stressful thing for myself because
Yeah.
let's say it's something as dumb as what plates I want. Like if that becomes a stressful experience on my wedding day, I'm gonna look at those plates and just feel that emotion. Right? I'm just gonna be like, oh, these stressed me out. I don't even want to look at it. So we've been trying to just make everything that it comes with really, really fun. Like we'll set aside little dates to do it. Like we recently had like a full weekend dedicated to just picking songs for our playlists, right? Like we're just doing a little research on like, okay, how many playlists do we need? How long should they be? And we just made it into like a fun experience, or like we'll go to a cafe, or like we'll go to dinner to like discuss the things that we want to do. And sometimes it's literally like at the end of the night, we're just chilling on the couch, he's playing his video games, or we're watching something on TV, and I'm just kind of like working away at the wedding stuff. In a fun way. I'm trying to not make it my third full-time job, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's like that. Um, and it's been like I'm really, really lucky because the venue that we went with actually comes with a wedding planner. So they do a lot of the actual work. We just get to do the fun stuff of like picking and choosing and
Hmm.
making suggestions. But if I were doing like a DIY wedding, I wouldn't make it. I really truly wouldn't make it. Because I'm not even like a crafty person or like a
Mm.
very creative person. So that stuff comes very hard to me. But if now that I have like the wedding planner, if I just see an idea or like something that I want to do, I just send it to them. I'm like, hey, can we do this? Or like, what do you need from me to do this?
Yeah.
So I'm really, really lucky in that sense.
What? Okay. I need to know. Is there any Drake in your wedding playlist?
There's not. There's not. In fact, he might be on the banned list. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't do it because our initial wedding plans were supposed to be for this past August. We were gonna get married in BC, and then we visited Portugal the year before, and we were like, nah, this feels right. Like we should, if we're already asking 90% of our guest list to travel to BC for 5.5 hours, why don't we come here, right? Like let's ask everyone to travel. It'll be like a true destination wedding, and it'll be beautiful. And so at that time, we had created a playlist, and I kid you not, 50% of this playlist was like Drake songs. And it wasn't even
You
us who
mean my
added it. Like
wedding playlist?
we had given it to like the groomsmen and the bridesmaids to like add songs that they want to hear. I don't know who added all of these songs. And there were some whack ass songs in there. Like not even Drake related, just some whack ass songs. And we went through and we're like, nope, banned, nope, absolutely not. This is not being played. It was hard to clean that up, but no,
Wow.
there are a couple of his songs on the banned list.
Or what's your like criteria for choosing songs for a wedding? What?
Well, we split it up into like four different playlists. So we have like the music for, before the ceremony, and then there's a couple songs in the ceremony, and then you have your cocktail hour, you have like during dinner where you want it to be kind of chill and mellow, and then you have like your party songs. So for us, it was kind of like we went with like instrumental songs for like when everyone's getting seated and, before the ceremony starts. So the qualification there was like no words, but it couldn't be too slow and it couldn't be too fast of an
Yeah.
instrumental. Cocktail Hour, just really like groovy songs, a lot of R&B. His family's Jamaican. Like we have to have a lot
Mhm.
of, a lot of songs and a
Yeah.
lot of like throwback songs. Um, I kind of wanted it to feel like, when you were in like grade 8 and you were at the dances and the songs that would come on, and then high school and you're like, oh, these are the songs that are gonna keep me dancing all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my criteria. Like I want everyone to dance.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Eh,
What?
I
What?
can't wait to hear Gasolina. I know that's on the playlist.
It is on the playlist.
I
It sure is on
know.
the playlist. Is it still going to be the song I walk out to? No, probably not. I
Okay.
kid you not, for
Gasolina
like,
was gonna be your song.
hmm?
I said Gasolina was gonna be the
No,
wedding
not the
song.
walk down the aisle. Like at the end, I just, I just work down the aisle. Let me rephrase. It was supposed to be the song that like we walk out into like dinner time
Okay.
as a newly married couple.
Okay.
I'm still questioning whether that's like a sane decision or not because there's family, and I don't know that that's
Who cares?
it.
Honestly,
Well, I'll play it at one part, but like I may need some liquid courage here and there to
yeah,
get
valid.
into that song.
Valid, valid, valid.
But like also imagine going, because I'm hoping that we walk out and then like we go into our first dance. Can you imagine the transition between Gasolina to like a
Or
slow
like you have
first
like Act Up playing or something. Is
It's
it
literally like it has to match still.
I
No, you know what? I did send Sina a really good song recommendation um over text one time. It's called Peggy. I, Ashley, do you know that song?
no. I don't know if I want to know that song.
If you search it up, I won't go over it right now, but it's a great lyrical genius great song. And I
It's
said
truly like it needs to win a prize.
it's so
So
amazing.
what I'm hearing is it's actually horrendous.
Yeah. Like, you know those songs where they think that the lyrics are like so profound, and if you just like realistically listen to it, just read it out, you're like, what are you? This isn't even
one of
coherent.
my one of my favorite songs ever that like I learned in like grade 7 is I Got Bitches by A2M. Do you know that song? Yeah, that's like one of those songs for me where like I will sing that shit with my heart, but
My whole chest.
my like everyone will look at me and be like, is she fucking okay?
Right? And like again, so some of those songs, those throwback songs, I'm like, yeah, this is a great song. I just it doesn't fit the vibe.
Oh, I'm gonna be playing I Got Bitches at my wedding.
You should, as you should. Whatever song makes you happy, you play it.
Oh, what has been your favorite thing about planning your wedding? What is like been your absolute most favorite thing?
Honestly, I think just the experience of like going on like making little dates out of planning it. That's been the most fun for me. Like I am so extra. I love to make like a big deal out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mano knows if I'm throwing a party, it's a themed party. It's not just like you do the same, Ashley. Like you know, it's not just a party, it's a
Yeah,
themed party.
yeah.
So really trying to make it into an experience where we're planning it together in a fun way. Honestly, just those dates has been the most fun.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing how similar both you guys are. I'm like, wow, these are there's I'm sitting with two empaths right now.
That's why I was so sad to miss your little Christmas party. But I looked like this, and the pain I was in was way too much. Listen, did you want to talk to my dentist? Because he said I couldn't do nothing.
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
He
Don't worry.
said he said I couldn't do nothing. In
There will
fact, he
be
didn't want to
more.
give me like the really strong painkillers, which in retrospect I should have listened to because I've never felt so ill in my life. I was nauseous and so sick. Like I've never had T3s in my life. I've never had surgery. I've never had anything. And so he at first just prescribed like really strong Advil. And I was like, well, they don't work on my cramps, so I assume it's not going to work on 4 teeth getting taken out. No,
Mhm.
I was wrong. I was wrong. I should have never asked for the T3s.
Was that your wisdom teeth getting taken out?
Yeah, all four of
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
So, if I could come eat and enjoy and sing and dance with you, I would. In fact, I
Oh,
was sitting
okay.
on this couch. It got
Oh.
so bad at one point where, like, I was off work, obviously, but Nathan was still working. And, like, this is his workspace.
Mm-hmm.
And I was panicking so hard about feeling so sick and still being in pain
Mm-hmm.
that, like, he literally had to bring me to this little couch behind him, set me up with blankets. And he was like, I'm like, this is kind of like take your kid to work day. I'm still working. But like you just lay down. I was literally just sobbing. He was like calling the
Same.
doctor for me. I was like, I can't do it. It's so painful.
Oh
And
no.
then I
Oh,
just stopped taking them because I didn't want to feel sick anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, if your
That's
doctor doesn't give you T3s, it's for a good fucking reason.
yeah, that's horrible.
Don't ask for them.
it's
I don't think I've ever had a T3 in my life either.
Don't ask for it.
Yeah.
I
I
think they gave
also
me
yeah.
no, I forget what it was called, but they gave me this really strong drug when I got mine taken out. I forget what it's called, but it's like one of those ones that people abuse.
Oxycodone.
Yeah, Oxycontin.
That's it. That's it. Yes, Oxycontin.
Or-
Also,
That's not.
I was only born with half my wisdom teeth, and
You're
they're the
so lucky.
non-invasive ones. Where
I
I
wish.
think they're on the top, so the top are the non-invasive ones.
Those are the easy ones too. Like if
Yeah,
you ever have to get them out, they pop out like that.
yeah. So yeah, if you look at the back of my mouth, I just like it looks like I'm missing teeth,
That's
but
so
I'm just
cool.
born without them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the other thing like I wasn't expecting. There's like just like pockets. now where the teeth used to be. And you're
Oh,
like,
you have? Really? Oh.
there's like little like divots of where they like carved it out, and then your
Yeah.
gums like
Yeah, that makes
fix
sense. That makes
themselves.
sense.
And like
Okay.
it's
Okay,
very
so
weird because it's still kind of like not tender, but it's like very soft compared to the rest of your gums. And
Yeah,
I'm
because
so
used
scared.
to it's used to having teeth in there.
Yeah. I didn't know I'd be left with holes. I don't know what I was expecting, but not holes.
Oh.
I mean, you have a dentist background though, so I mean, technically, you got the context. You're so like, okay, wait, random question. Because you always liked, um, biology and like sciences growing up, did you initially have like some type of career path in mind where it was like a specific career other than dentist? Like, was there like something you wanted to do when you were younger, um, that now looking back, you're like, wow, I used to want to do that.
When I was younger, I was really into teaching. Like I really wanted to be a teacher. So my mom was a teacher. And my dad was a dentist. So I was kind of like, stuck. But obviously my parents wanted me to be a dentist. And like that never really felt like what I wanted to do, but it was kind of like, parents want you to be successful. They like push you towards specific goals and stuff. So it was kind of like this running joke between every family member, every family friend like, oh, the future dentist, blah, blah, blah. Very quickly after grade 12, I was like, I'm not cut out for this.
You're like, nar.
This ain't me. And every time, like, I would, like, everyone would be like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, what program do you want to go into? And then as soon as you would say, like, bio or something science related, like, oh, you want to be a doctor? No. Oh, you want to go into dentistry? That's what my parents want, but I don't know if that's what I want. I would say in the science sector, I did think about like nursing um, a lot, but honestly, that's really physically demanding. Like emotions aside of like taking care of people, it's a very
Yeah.
physical, like you got to be on it. And just chronic illness does not do well with jobs like that. So
No,
it's like
it's a
I'm
lot.
not cut out for this.
No, that's a lot.
No.
Yeah.
So that
Like
was
literally.
the closest thing, basically.
Okay.
So how did your parents react when you told them you were working for a
Oh
startup?
my. It was bad. It was bad.
Was it?
It was bad in the sense that like just to appease them, like I went as far as I could with it. But like just one day I just had enough. I was like, I can't do it. Like this is not what I want. I don't want to do this. I understand if that's like, disappointing to you guys, but like I'm not cut out for this. I don't want to do more schooling. Like it's putting me into like a very depressed state. Um, I don't do exams well. Like I get very, very anxious when it comes to being tested. And so I was just sick of school. Like I had never had a break. And like when I was in high school, I used to volunteer because you know how you need those like 40 volunteer hours?
Yeah.
I used to volunteer every Friday night, and then like I did that all 4 years. So I had way more than the hours I needed to, but for some reason I kept that going because it just like was, one of those things where like you impress people and then you just keep
Mhm.
doing it.
Yeah.
Like that validation externally. So I never even had like proper weekends in high school. And then when I came to university, I always had summer courses. I was always trying to like get as ahead as I could. So I always took summer courses to be ahead. So I never had a break. So like by the time I was graduating, I was like, I'm so done. I don't want to do school. Um, and I knew that like if I paused, I would not go back to school. And I still haven't. Like I'm not one of those people that will like take a break and then go back into it. I truly didn't enjoy school. It was not my
Yeah.
thing. And so I was like, I'm becoming depressed. Like this is too much for me. Like I'm in a state where I'm just like dissociating all the time. I'm escaping home because I don't want to like, disappoint you guys. Like I was staying over at Nate's a lot throughout the day after school, and I was just like, I can't do it anymore. And they didn't love that. I don't know if it's the same with your families, but like mental health is not really a thing.
Immigrants don't believe in that.
They don't like it's not addressed, it's not believed in
Oh
until
yeah.
like it gets to a point where you can't function anymore or like you're lashing out at people and then they're like, geez, what's your problem? And I'm like,
Yeah.
all the signs are there. Like I
Yeah.
laid it out for you.
I wouldn't say like because my parents aren't immigrants, but
Mhm.
I'm the older child and I've always had to figure it out on my own, right? So
Yeah.
like obviously there's been moments where I've lashed out and I've had my moments, but it's never like it's never acknowledged like that. So I get it.
Yeah.
I do get it.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point because like for me, I'm not the oldest child. I'm actually like the middle.
Okay.
But not just the middle, a third. It works this way. My oldest, like the oldest sibling is obviously the oldest. And then the other middle that I share with is my brother. So he's the only boy. So he got that kind of like, recognition and like that kind of special treatment. And then my baby sister, right? So like I'm not just a middle, I'm like the most middle of all middles. Because the
Yeah.
other middle I share with is like has his own thing of like being the only boy. Um, and so I didn't have to experience everything first or like figure it out myself. But when we immigrated, like my two older siblings are a lot older than me. They're like about 13 years older than me. And
Mhm.
so I had to do a lot of first things in Canada. So first going to school here, it was me. And then applying for high schools, I had to do that. Applying for university, good God, that was like a whole thing in itself. And so I kind of paved the way for my younger sister, which is really tough, but I didn't have those same pressures of like being the oldest child. Like my older sister, genuinely to this day, like everyone is counting on her to book like, flights, accommodations, everything for my wedding. Like she's still seen as the one to like take care of all that, even though she's got like her own family, her own kids that she needs to like care for. It's still very much like, oh, no, she'll take care of those things.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
I got lucky half of that was not on.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. So, okay, so like you kind of play like the older sibling role in some capacity, but then other ways it's like you're the
Yeah.
middle child where they just don't even see you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're like not seen, not heard.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask my younger sister, she'll like out of the two of us, when we were younger, she would always say like I was the favorite. I don't, I think it was just we had different personalities growing up and we had
Oh,
different parents that would respond to us better.
yeah, and no child has the same two parents,
No,
right? And
no.
like I definitely there were certain points where growing up with my brother, like I thought that my brother was the favorite, right?
hmm
And like it might be completely different now, or like he might have thought the opposite, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, no, I actually Gabor Mate, I don't know if you know who that is, but I think you would really, really enjoy listening. I have a few of his books and like just listening to any podcast that he's on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a psychologist and he's actually he lives in Vancouver. He's older. Um but he's very calm and very he talks a lot about parenting and stuff like that. But oh my god, where was I going with this? Gabor Mate. Oh, that's who I heard that from. The like no child has the same two parents.
I love
Came
that
from
because
him.
that's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And like
I
when you're born versus a sibling is born, like your parents are also in totally different mindsets.
oh,
And
100%.
whether like you're the first child, they're experiencing this for the first time. Because, like one of the other things I've learned is that like your parents are living life for the first time too, which I totally understand. So then you get into like, okay, well, there comes a point where like I'm expressing things, right?
Mm.
Like I'm telling you I have certain needs or like certain experiences that I've had, and like it gets to a point where you can't just like be like, oh, well, they're living life for the first time too. And it's just like, yeah, but like you're an adult. Now I'm an adult. Gotta just figure things out.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're born versus a sibling is born, they're completely different people. They've
Yeah.
experienced different things.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think, well, and I think the position in siblings also plays a role in that as well, right? So, because when my brother was born, I was 5 years old and like I was expected to look after him, right? Sometimes if my mom was working or whatever, like my
Yeah.
5 year old little ass, okay, I'm running to the store really, really quickly. Keep an eye on him. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot for a 5 year old to do.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. And like, just, I don't know. If any big sisters out there, I commend you guys a lot because I think there's a lot of, and like you too, because you paved the road to some capacity for your sister, right? I think
hmm
I think we carry a lot of burdens that we don't speak about, right?
For sure. And
So
there's varying degrees of it, right?
yeah,
Like just watching really quickly to go to a store versus like actually teaching your sibling to read or like teaching them actual life skills. Um,
not to cross the road or like, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have all different types of siblings here. We have an older sibling, a middle sibling, and a younger sibling.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got
It's a
lucky.
baby.
I got
Yeah.
lucky.
You got the
You're
cutest
like, I'm
baby.
the one asking how to fill out this form and it just says full name.
Yeah, I'm like, how the hell do I do this?
Well, my like my favorite comparison with my brother and I is I like was actively working. Like I was teaching kids how to skate when I was 11 and then I was working at McDonald's when I was 14. My brother is 18. Yes, he's like done work for my dad or whatever. He's never had a fucking part-time job or anything. I was
Yeah,
11 and 14 when I had
You
to
were a hustler.
like
yeah, she's
but that was
a
expected. My
hustler.
mom was like, you don't get anything unless you work for it. And I'm like, what happened here? What
Yeah.
happened here?
What happened? What went wrong here? No, my
Yeah.
younger sister did have her part-time job. And honestly, like sometimes she works harder than I do right now, like in her current job. Um, she's a denturist, and honestly, her days are tough. Like they're tough.
Imagine.
They,
What?
I'm like, I don't know how you're doing it, but good on you. I'm very lucky that she did have a part-time job. Like she was a cashier. So, in those jobs, they really teach you those like life skills.
Yeah.
Oh, they also teach you how to deal with people because as a cashier, oh my God, oh my
Customer
goodness.
success roles.
Customer success roles will test you to the limits. Sina would also know. Sina would also know that one.
I've been traumatized by customers of all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a cashier, any of the companies that I helped kind of build, yeah, traumatized by customers is a
Valid. Valid. Well,
Common theme.
I think it's so important for any teenager to work in a service field of some
yeah,
kind because you learn so much about people. You learn so
you
much.
really do.
Like I've seen a milkshake get thrown on someone. I've been yelled at over fucking tomato or over orange juice. You know what I mean? Like it's the little
Yeah.
fucking things. And like just having to stand there and like deal with it. Like you even the working I say like working downtown Toronto as like a server or bartender too. Like, oh my God.
That
You learn
I
Ooh,
commend you because I
oh
don't even
don't know
it's
like
where to
being a
begin.
cashier is one thing, but like having rowdy customers,
oh,
especially downtown, is a whole other.
oh tequila's
I don't even.
lovely. And the old men, it's just lovely.
Ugh.
It's just lovely. But you really learn how to like keep your mouth shut when you need to keep your mouth shut and act when you need to act.
It teaches you a lot about life. And honestly, I think that's what really separates people who genuinely want to make something of themselves. And like, I think that that is part of the path that some people have had into entrepreneurship is like
Yeah.
learning that like, no, I want to make something that's mine and
Mhm.
that I can do for me and not have to work for others. And some people are totally fine with that.
Oh
Like
my
they're two
God.
different personalities.
Sina, literally, okay, so that text message that I received from my ex the other day, okay? Sorry, you just like reminded me of this.
I hate this man. Never met him. I hate this man.
That text message, okay, he like texts me after not speaking for 3 years and he goes,
Uh-oh.
I wanted to invite you to come work for me at this high-end bar
No.
or club that I'm opening up, okay? I called my mom and I read it out to her and she went, first of all, you don't work for anyone.
Yeah, period.
You've literally made something of yourself. Why would you ever go work for someone else like that?
Well, and you know what? He doesn't know anything that's going on in my life, so like whatever. But like,
But
just like,
to
oh
even
my God,
assume that like
no.
you need him to offer you a job and he's trying to like butter you up by saying, yeah, I need reliable people like
Oh
you.
my
It
God,
wasn't even a personal message. He probably sent that to multiple other people.
Yeah.
no.
Him
He
goes to
needs
his phone, sends
reliable
all
people.
contacts.
Yeah. He
Like,
sent it to everyone he knows.
I was just like, okay, so you're really that short of people that the only person you could think of texting was your ex from 3 years ago.
That's crazy. And you thought that that would be well received.
I'm inviting you. Okay,
I'd
fucking
like to
king.
invite you. Is it a tryout? Like,
What? Anyway, sorry. You reminded me of that when you were explaining that, and we haven't talked about this like IRL. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
I was like, oh my God.
There
Anyways,
are people,
That's
I'm just saying, there's people who want to, like, make something for themselves and start their own thing and be an entrepreneur and really deal with the realities and the hardships that comes with that. And then there are others who just know that that's not for them. And that's totally fine.
yeah,
But that
it's
is
like,
something you learn from working those service jobs.
yeah, it's like wanting to be able to make a difference and help and to some capacity. What I've like none of our experiences are like inherently unique, right? we
Yeah.
all we all
Yeah.
it's insane, but we all share uh struggles or like successes to some capacity. And I don't know, that's like one thing my dad has done with his company, has turned like his pain points in his career and his life into
Hmm.
something that can help a bunch of other people. And I think I think a true entrepreneur is someone who can like spot that, see that, and be like, I want to, even if I'm like just a part of it, I want to some capacity, like contribute and fix this.
Yeah, I agree. That's also like entrepreneurship can be separated by itself into two groups as well. There's just people who think it's like easy, fast money, and then they're like, I'm not even joking, like they'll think that they'll
buy
work
my course.
Buy my course.
buy my course. Link in bio. And then there's people like you said, like your dad, who just genuinely want to make a difference, share their expertise, like do something for the greater good, whether it's a small group of people or a big group of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's all entrepreneurship. And that's why I think entrepreneurship sometimes gets a bad rep. Like when you see these like bros on TV being like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, I do this and that, and you're like, come on. Like that's what gives it a kind of a bad name. Whereas true entrepreneurship is literally the grind, the
Mm-hmm.
hardships, like the never knowing what's gonna come your way. When you wake up, is everything gone to shit or is it really just like a great day?
Yeah,
But despite all of that, still continuing to do it. That's like what real entrepreneurship is to me.
100%. Yeah.
Perseverance and
Yeah.
discipline, literally, because
Yeah.
God knows, God knows it's a tough struggle.
As
Yeah.
a as an empath who is working in entrepreneurship, how do you keep yourself sane and like not people please, and like how do you manage that?
Yeah. People pleasing was a huge thing for me. Like when we first started, like I would just say yes to everything and then freak out about it in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like truly stress myself out. But it was really just learning like that is so exhausting and against what's good for me that I need to learn how to like say no, or I need to learn like to really look into things or like talk through it with people, and not just agree to doing it. And then also just like spreading out the responsibilities. Like not everything has to fall on me. I don't have to be like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, and this. It's kind of like, no, I have a team. Like you can do this, you can do
Delegate,
this,
yeah.
I can support with this. That was really like the biggest lesson for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And
it
also pointed out for me too. Sana was like, "You need to stop people pleasing, Mano," and I was like,
well, that was one of the
"Real,
conversations I had with
real."
you too when we started becoming friends. Because
Yeah, that was true.
even in our school setting, he was people pleasing, and I was like, why didn't you just say how you felt, right?
Yeah, it's really tough,
No,
especially
and
like in the moment.
it's easier too, and it's easier for me to call it out for other people than to like do it myself too, right?
Oh, for
But
sure. You can always be like, yeah, you're a people pleaser. And you're like, yeah, so are you.
yeah,
Look back in the mirror.
but I think that's why it's so important to have people around you who are gonna, and if I don't know if you listened to our last podcast episode, but Patrice taught us the phrase white glove.
White glove,
You need people around you who are gonna white glove you, who are gonna like white
Oh,
glove
that's
and
so
smack you in the
cute.
face,
like.
right? Like slap
That's
some
so funny.
reality into
So I
like,
call Ashley my white glove,
As you should.
and I will.
and she will. She has done it before. She
And
has
I
done it
will.
before. She,
She's
I'm
no
like,
problem doing it again.
I love to give a little friendly smack
where's the?
with a
Oh my
little.
God. I made like my little bingo card thing, and I
Oh
remember
yeah.
Ashley made me put um the people pleasing on here to get rid of
Mm,
the thing. I put it somewhere
yes,
here.
I remember that.
It is. I'm pretty sure I told you to sign up.
Yeah, you were like, actually, I made it a goal. I was like, that's fantastic. I'm very
Yes,
proud of you.
period. It's right by my window, always by my desk right here.
Which one is it? Which one is it? Read it to us.
Learn assertive communication?
No,
Learn,
that
no,
was
assert slash communicate boundaries. That's what it was. That's what it was.
yeah.
That's a good
Well,
one.
and we had to rephrase it so it was more positive as well because you have
Yeah, I like that. It's like something you can take action on versus like something you do wrong.
yeah, versus fixating on a problem.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
period.
okay, okay. What would you say have been like the most helpful resources or support tools for you while managing everything that you're dealing with right now and everything that you're accomplishing right now?
I have these like moments where I genuinely feel like my brain is so jam-packed with like tasks because I'm doing so many different things and everything just kind of gets jumbled up in there. Um, we just like take 5, 10 minutes where I just grab a notebook, write everything down, and then I'm like, okay, now I categorize it. Like this is all for this task that I'm trying to do. This is all wedding related stuff. And then that helps me to like prioritize things. Like I don't need to think about this right now. That's like in 7 months when the wedding day comes. I
Mhm.
don't need to think about this because that's for 2 weeks from now for this job. I actually need to just focus on this. It just really helps me to like clear my mind, but also just really tearing myself away from my computer at the end of the day to do some sort of hobby, whether it's just to take a walk or like read a little bit, just feel like a human being and not just like a machine working away.
Mhm.
So not necessarily like a resource, but just something that I always do, just write everything down, categorize it, figure out what I need to focus on.
Yeah, I like that.
Hmm.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Hey, pen to paper, pen to paper. I
Yeah,
literally have
literally.
Ashley got me this notebook, and I'm like, I need to start every day writing in it because you're so right. I'm pretty sure there's some science behind that too about writing
Mind
Yeah.
down and
The
making it.
act of
also
writing it like really feels like it's leaving your body.
Yeah,
mind mapping it too.
Hmm.
That's like there's a lot of books on mind mapping, Mano, and like that's like a lot of my dad's business is based off of mind mapping because
yeah.
it's so beneficial because you can like branch things off and connect them and like see what's correlated, what's prioritized. But yeah, okay. One question we ask all of our guests. I
Hmm.
ask you,
Oh,
Mano, do you want to ask it?
Okay. This is the original the question we ask every single person that comes on the podcast. Are you ready for it?
I'm so ready.
What does embodiment mean to you?
Very good question. Hmm. I'll go at it from like a personal point of view because as Mano
Yeah.
knows, like I'm not the most, not that I'm not spiritual, I just think spirituality does not enter me. I don't know what it is. Like every time Rima does a reading for me, she's like, yeah, you're kind of closed off. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be. So for me, I think with embodiment, it's really just like represent what you want. Like, growing up, how everybody would always say, like, be what you want to see in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, genuinely that. If you want to see, kindness and people doing things for each other and really trying to make it a better place for us all to live, like, embody that.
Yeah.
Be inspiring, be an example, represent what you want to see, basically.
Miss Thang just said she doesn't really let spirituality enter her, but she
I
just pulled out
want to
you
so
just you
bad.
just pulled out one of the 12 laws of karma, essentially. So
Wait, did
She's
I
like,
really
hold on.
hang on?
you did it without even thinking about it, darling.
Maybe it is in me.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
Good. Maybe I just
No, but
don't.
I really love that, and I think it's so true. It's like if you want love, you got to be loving. If you
Yeah,
right, if you want to see change, you got to make changes. If you want to receive energy, you got to put energy out there. So,
exactly.
yeah.
And be the example you want to see out in the world.
Yeah.
Period.
That's it.
Period.
Period. Period.
Me bringing my Gen Z slang into it, I'm like, period.
Slay.
Play. Yeah. Impact.
HEE. Devoured.
D
Oh, yeah.
Very demure, very demure. But that was a very demure answer. And again, Sina, we are so, so grateful and honored to have you on
Honored
the
is
podcast.
the word.
Honored and
Thank you
grateful.
guys.
Okay. Gratitude. grateful for having you on and having your time, because you have a very busy schedule. As we mentioned through this podcast episode, she's doing a lot, and she took an hour out of her day to come and sit with us and chat with us. So I thank you for that. And you're an amazing, amazing soul. And I'm so glad that we got this all on recording for other people to hear too, so they can hear and fall in love with you like we love you. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
No,
Anything for you too.
we
Love
love
you
you. We
guys.
love you. We love you. No, you know what? I'm just happy that we could have a sit down conversation. And like,
Yeah.
obviously, when you and Mano talk or when you and I text about things, it's one thing, but being able to sit
Yeah.
and take a deep dive into this stuff and like ask questions that maybe don't usually come up in normal conversation, like
hmm
I'm happy I was able to learn more about you. So
Yeah, me too. I love that.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of Embodiment, Who You Are Behind Closed Doors. If you ever have any questions, leave a comment, send us a DM at embodiment.pod on Instagram.
or click the link in our bio to join our community. We are so grateful for you guys and the growth that we get to experience with you. I am so proud of you.
No, I'm proud of you.
No, I am.
No, me.
I said it first.
No.
No.